Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday Night Live. I'm Dr. Duncan, and this is Ron Veitel, and we're at Siskiyou Vital Medicine in Medford, Oregon. I was about to say we're at SiskiyouVitalMedicine.com. We're there also, www.siskiyouvitalmedicine.com.
Yeah.
And we are loving the Wednesday Night Lives. I was just commenting to Ron before we went live, saying that it's amazing that we've been doing this pretty much consistently for a few months now, and Ron's like, we've only missed one.
Yeah.
And I find that pretty incredible.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that we get a lot of feedback from all of you in our community telling us how much you love our Wednesday Night Lives, and I'm super stoked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of this for me is just getting comfortable in front of the camera and also spreading a lot of good messages and information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you want to go back and see any of our past live events, you can go to our YouTube page, Siskiyou Vital Medicine at YouTube, and you can watch all of the old Wednesday Night Lives, because what I do is I download them and post them up there the next day. So
yeah, you can watch them a million times. Please
get your fill.
Just watch them a million times. Have your kids watch them. Call your friends. Call your grandma. Get them all watching, because the more views we have, I think don't you get a check eventually?
I haven't. No, not us. We don't do commercials.
Oh, we don't do commercials.
We don't do commercials.
Okay.
We're commercial free. You don't have to worry about
Commercial
that.
free.
Yes.
Yeah.
And today, get your children watching would be a good one for
child
today.
health.
Today we are talking about child health. We're going to talk about children's health and a variety of things going on with children's health today.
So before we get into child health, are there any new announcements for Siskiyou Vital Medicine?
New announcements for Siskiyou Vital Medicine. Boy, it seems like there's always
something going on.
There's always something. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Come for Maria LaPuma's Modern Tapping Circle. It's a $10 to $20 donation. It's a great opportunity to learn how to do emotional freedom technique in a group. She works with helping you break through areas in your life that you're stuck or need some help moving through.
Does she help you tap into those
areas? She helps you tap into those areas. That's brilliant. She helps you tap into those areas and helps you with managing your stress and helping reduce your stress. So that's tomorrow night, 6:30 to 8. What else do we have coming up? Also tomorrow, 12 to 5, we've got Dr. Casey Frieder and his skin clinic and his for all Siskiyou Vital Medicine patients. It's Community Chiropractic Day with Dr. Frieder. So
that's right.
It's your opportunity to get super quality chiropractic care for $40.
Yeah.
How do you beat that?
You can't beat it.
$40 cash. And
thank you, Dr. Frieder.
Thank you, Dr. Frieder. 12 to 5 tomorrow, from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. On Thursdays. This will be an ongoing Thursday event now. So 12 to 5, Dr. Frieder's Skin Clinic, where he does non-surgical skin lesion removal, as well as the Community Chiropractic for Siskiyou Vital Medicine patients. So you should know that the Community Chiropractic is for Siskiyou Vital Medicine patients only, but the Skin Clinic is open to anybody. That's open to the public.
That's right. And last Friday we had Dr. Frieder here, and he was training with us, and we were starting to get into natural skin care, like the natural dermatology. So I really encourage you guys to spread the word that Dr. Frieder is here, and he does have the skin clinic going here at Siskiyou Vital Medicine. I think it's really important to not only treat any skin lesions, but to talk about skin health in sort of a general nutritional way, in a foundational way. Mm-hmm. And if you go back on our Facebook page or our YouTube page, you'll see a couple of interviews with Dr. Frieder that Ron has done, and I think they're very useful, very informational. But we're sort of venturing into that. We want to allow Dr. Frieder to sort of flourish here at Siskiyou Vital Medicine and build his skincare practice. I know that referrals out to dermatologists here in the Valley can take 3 to 6 weeks, if not longer. So if you are concerned about anything on your skin, or if you know anybody that's concerned about any skin condition, have them schedule an appointment with Dr. Frieder. He's amazing. He's very good at explaining things. He's very professional.
Very compassionate.
Very compassionate. What else can we say about Dr. Frieder?
He's an all-around good person.
He's an amazing guy. So we like him, and I like that he's really foundational in his approach. So, and on that, we are starting to offer some more aesthetics here at Siskiyou Vitamedicine. We're doing the PRP microneedling. We do a PRP breast polish. We do all kinds of sort of revolutionary treatments here at Siskiyou. So, check us out check out our webpage, check out our YouTube site, check out our Facebook, because we're always bringing something new to the community, and hopefully we're able to offer things here that will have a positive impact in your life in a sustainable way.
Yes.
So, we like that.
That's what it's all about.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm all about
That's what I expect, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So child health.
Child health is the topic this week.
And speaking of foundations, what a foundational concept, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Starting life off strong with solid health.
And I think that we've had a couple of conversations around child health. So Ron has been giving talks at the Siskiyou School, doing the morning coffee with Nina Galloway. So if you guys are ever interested in doing something like that, or hearing one of Ron's talks, again, check up on our website. We'll be posting his new events. But child health is so crucial, and like you said, it's setting up those really strong, healthy habits early.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Because, a child's born and the outer world just starts to press in upon them and starts to shape them and mold them. And as parents, and I'm a parent of 3, I have 3 teenagers, and so
lovely children, by the way.
Thank you. They are. I will agree with that. I'm not biased at all.
No.
Obviously, but we as parents set the tone for our children's health.
It's true.
And so it's our habits, our routines, our actions that they're keenly aware of and paying close attention to, much more so than anything that we tell them to do. So this is our opportunity to help shape and mold them and give them the foundation that they need health-wise to navigate all the, at school, all the bugs.
All the pitfalls, really.
All the viruses. It's just like you just circulate the flu, the colds, the germs, all that. But when you get a child's terrain in a healthy place, their biological terrain, what you do is you build a foundation that makes them more resilient as they are exposed to these things.
Yeah, resilience was actually coming to mind. I love that word.
Yes.
And I think that children are so resilient if given the right opportunity to thrive. I'm a father of 3. I have 3 children, and I have 2 children now that are just in the grade school. So the school's kind of like a petri dish.
Yes.
They go to school, and they're surrounded by kids who are just hacking a lung. Sneezy, snotty, you name it, right? And they're all exposed to that. And so it's sort of my job. I feel like it's my job as a parent to sort of give them a healthy foundation at home so that they are more resilient. They can withstand or be exposed to things and have an immune system that's strong enough to withstand the pressures pushed upon them. So, and a lot of that is that, it's not only just nutrition and vitamins and, and cleanliness. It's really about emotions too, right? It's about the emotional environment, or how does your child respond to stress? And kids are so good at picking up our habits. They're good at their brains are ripe for observation and learning, right? So from in child development, from very early on till 7 years old, 12 years old, 15, 14, 16, all these, as they get older, they're just sponges. They're absorbing everything. So it's really important that we're modeling good health for our children. We're establishing healthy eating patterns. We're establishing healthy rhythms, healthy boundaries. You know, it's so complex. It's so vast, but it's really important that, and it's a challenge, I think, as a parent to really be that model.
We have to level up. We have to keep our game.
We've got to keep our
game really high for the kids because they are watching us. You know, there a whole phase of child development in the early years is all based on imitation.
Yeah.
Right. So they imitate us, and so we have to be really solid in our health foundations. And the reality about health with an adult as well as with children is that, you know, it's not just what goes in the mouth. It's not just about the food. We are all nourished by our sense perceptions. We're all nourished by everything that's streaming in. So whatever the child is exposed to that's either on TV or on the iPad or iPhone, all the screen time these days, which is becoming a major issue with children. But the things that are streaming in through the senses, what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're feeling, and the kind of touch that they get, all that is nourishment for a child. So we have to be really dialed in on making sure that their environment is as clean, as quality, as gentle and nourishing as possible, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally.
Right. I think you hit on so many key points there. One of them is I'm glad that you brought up the screen time issue. Screen time is becoming a huge epidemic, and kids are spending more and more time on screens. And what it's leading to is a lot more behavioral issues, social anxiety, depression, insomnia, inability to pay attention.
Yeah.
So it's important that we really limit screen time for our children, we limit the media that they're exposed to, and really start thinking about what kind of quality time are we spending with our kids. How many hours are we as parents spending looking at our phones or looking at our computers, and really, and our kids are going to pick up on those patterns, and they're going to want, you know, a phone earlier. I mean, my son, just from his friends at school, you know, they have phones and they have iPads and things, and he's already asking. He's 10 years old. He's already asking, Papa, when can I get an iPhone? You know, like, right. When can I get a screen? And I keep telling him, like, look, man, when you can afford to buy your own, when you're 18, actually is what I told him, you can get yourself a phone. And I might sound like, you know, like I'm a rough parent, and, you know, and I'm not following what everybody else is doing, but just looking at, you know, we went to a conference on childhood development recently in Portland,
right?
And they really hit home the point that spending a lot of times on the screen is really detrimental to a child's development, their brain development, their social development, their emotional development. And so I'm really I'm not willing to take that risk. So I think that limiting screen time is very important for children. Engaging them on a very meaningful level, meaning, you know, sitting down with them, reading, drawing, writing, playing games, but really generating or creating those moments that they're going to remember forever. I mean, I can think back to my childhood, and I can remember instances playing cards with my grandmother, or building a fort outside, or, you know, hanging out in the treehouse. You know, those are things that sort of enrich your life. Holding up, you know, looking at a screen or watching a movie is akin to being asleep. It kind of puts the brain asleep, and it's sort of like a dream that gets unfinished. So that leads to this anxiety and an appetite for even more. So that's, I think, as a foundational health tool, really start limiting or looking into how much screen time your children are actually exposed to or having.
Yeah. There's two things I would like to say to that. One, the thing that comes to mind with, you know, children watching images like they are on the screen all the time, whether it be on a TV or on an iPad or on an iPhone, it doesn't matter, is that the child, up until about the age of 7, is really living from pure imagination. And imagination is the capacity to create your own images and when you're watching TV, it's feeding you images.
Mm-hmm.
So the child begins to lose their capacity for imaginative thinking, which is one of the most critical thinking faculties that we have, because it's imaginative thinking that leads to solutions to complex problems for us adults. And so the more imaginative thinking we can cultivate with our children, the healthier their thinking life will be in the future. The other thing I want to say is that if you are dealing with a child and the screen is becoming an issue, or you're seeing it's going to be an issue on the horizon, there's a really good documentary called Screenagers. And I would recommend that you watch that. I don't have there's no definitive answer to what to do here, but I think that movie will give you some good it's a good trail to figure out how to navigate that situation with your own children. So Screenagers would be really great to use.
Yeah.
And I wrote down a list of things that would be key components to child health, and you just touched on one. I put it at the bottom of my list. But that is play.
Yes.
Because play is how children learn. So, the more that we're engaged in play with our own children, and they're engaged with play with other children, that's really important.
Absolutely.
Super important.
Especially play that's just created from the imagination.
Yes.
Right? If a child's able to sort of create a game or create a scenario or make something up, make believe, that's going to lead to more of that solution sort of problem solving in the future, or that creative thinking in the future. So, for example, if you teach a child a game like basketball and you give them a ball, now they're going to just play basketball instead of making up some new game on their own. And I really like... I'm sort of biased towards the Waldorf education, because they really encourage the childhood imagination, or the child's imagination. And so I love just go out and play in the environment. Find a stick, go play with your friends, but really leaving them open to their own creativity.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about Waldorf,
yes,
because this will tie right in, is that most Waldorf schools have their own garden, right? So kids get an opportunity to learn about how food grows. And from my perspective as a nutritionist, one of the most important things we can do with our kids, if we want them to eat healthy and we want them to eat vegetables, is to grow them.
Learn how to grow food.
Learn how to grow food. If you involve your child in growing food and that they get to harvest that food, I will guarantee you they will eat that food.
Yeah.
If they're involved in the process of planting the seed, of watering the plants, of harvesting it, they will want to eat those vegetables.
I've noticed that. I have my children help prepare meals occasionally, especially vegetables, because they always call it ew, right? It's like, ew, veggies, or, whatever it is.
Yes.
And so if I can engage them and get them to be involved in the process, whether it's making sauerkraut or preparing dinner, they're more apt to eat what they prepared. I think it's awesome to get kids involved in gardening and farming and getting into the soil and getting those good microbes all over them, but also the education that comes along with that, and how to identify plants that are edible, to identify plants that might be medicinal, because I think that we're losing a lot of that education. I don't know how many of you can go outside and identify edible
Just
plants.
Three edible plants.
Yeah, edible plants, or medicinal plants, or dandelion, plantain, lemon balm, right? So these are things that are commonly found in our environment. And a lot of children just don't even know where our food comes from, let alone what that bush over there is, or, I could eat dandelion in my salad, or, so I think it's super important that we start re-educating ourselves. And really that leads to freedom and personal freedom, and the opportunity to think for ourselves. And I think that that's really important to develop in a child, to give them the tools necessary to navigate their environment. And I think that you had mentioned something earlier about having a clean environment. I think a clean environment in terms of free of clutter, like things coming in, media maybe coming in, or drama or emotional stress coming into the environment. But I think that getting their hands dirty, getting them outside, playing in the mud, petting the dog or the cat, or chasing the chickens.
Yes.
These things are really good for their immune systems. And there are even research studies showing that children who have pets who are exposed to dirt in their environment have more robust immune systems.
Yep. And
right?
children who are in more hyper-sterilized environments have higher rates of asthma and different allergies.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need that. You want I would say a psychically and emotionally clean environment.
Yes.
You don't want a physically filthy environment, but you certainly want a lived-in environment, right? So everything doesn't need to be wiped down with antibacterial wipes and things like that.
Right.
So we want to be exposed to some dirt and dander and things like that for our children, and as they're exposed to those microbes, say in the soil from the food or playing in the dirt, that all goes to help build a robust microbiome.
The microbiome,
which is a huge factor
totally
in overall health. Overall health is one of the biggest determining factors of our overall health is the health and quality and the types of bacteria that make up our microbiome. But it's also one of the key foundational elements to a healthy gut, and so which is where digestion and nutrient absorption is occurring, and that's a crucial process because all health begins in the gut.
Absolutely.
And most disease begins in the gut.
Absolutely. Speaking like a true naturopath.
Well,
Yeah. It's
I can only aspire.
Right. So so a lot of our children here at Siskiyou Biomedicine, a lot of our members who are dealing with either ADHD, autism, or ADD, we start working on the gut, and we start healing a gut so that their gut can then start absorbing nutrients, because I think it's really important that children are capable of absorbing their nutrients, their proteins, their fats, especially, and their minerals and vitamins from their vegetables, and that really helps go a long way in terms of getting down to the root cause of an emotional issue. If they don't have a healthy gut, or they have some dysbiosis, or they're having dysregulation of blood sugars, it's really going to hinder the process and the healing process. And it's drugs aren't always the answer, but sometimes if you can't get a healthy foundation, it's like our next step is really medications, and that's sort of the last thing that we want to do, right? So we want to work on those healthy boundaries, that social environment, the loving environment, the nurturing environment, and then looking at how are we going to give this child the best chance and opportunity, give them the tools to absorb those nutrients that are important for making neurotransmitters and establishing a healthy biome and establishing healthy boundaries. I mean, there's a lot to that. So
yeah. One thing that
tell me. What you got?
One thing that can enhance all that for children is making sure that their blood sugar is stable.
Yeah. I get that question all the time from mothers. My child it has a problem sitting still in school. What do you recommend? First thing I recommend is, start the day off with a protein and a fat. Don't start the day off with sugar. You're sort of starting, in my opinion, a kind of a bad habit and a dependence on sugar.
It starts early.
And it's so fast. Sugar's like, boom, it's there and it's gone, and it leaves you wanting more. And
craving and hungry and scattered.
Scattered energy.
So protein and fat in the morning for the kids, but making sure that their blood sugar stays stable, that they have consistent nourishment. Blood sugar fluctuations, especially if you wait too long to feed a child, and anyone who has children,
Yep, I've done this.
You know this. Everyone's done it. Every parent has done this. They have gone too long before feeding their child.
My kids must be good, right?
And then the child hits low blood sugar, and the next thing you know, you have no clue whose child that is, but you're pretty sure it's not yours.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it is.
All right.
You know?
Sometimes you're like,
and
dang.
you're like, that's a monster. That's not my child, because they're having a meltdown, and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. And so, what happens when you allow blood sugar to tank and a child to get hypoglycemic is it disrupts all the neurotransmitters. So all their key neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and GABA, which is the inhibitory neurotransmitter that helps keep them calm, all that gets disrupted, and it impacts their capacity to think clearly, to feel, to have balanced emotions, and therefore clear actions in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're hypoglycemic, or you spike their blood sugar and you get them hyperglycemic,
Watch out.
watch out. And so blood sugar fluctuations are one of the worst things for the developing child's brain.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And then that goes back to being a responsible parent, paying attention to your child, reading those signs, carrying snacks with you in either your backpack or
Never leave home
your
without
car. Always have something, there. But, I've made that mistake in the past, and I try not to make that mistake in the future, because it literally is like, that's my child, but there's something else coming out of my child right now. It's totally flipping
He's
out.
possessed.
They are very hangry at the moment.
Hangry.
So I think that's super important. And the quality of the fats, I think, is important. If you guys are strapped for funds or not able to buy everything organic, at least try to get your fats organic. Those fats are carrying a lot of toxins. They tend to glom onto a lot of toxins. So if you can, please eat organic fats. That means organic grass-fed butter, organic eggs, avocados, olive oils, nuts and seeds. Try to get wild-caught salmon, not farm-raised salmon. Basically, you're trying to grow and develop a human being, a optimal human being who's connected with themselves, who easily relates to their environment, to other people. They can hold a conversation with other people, easy to connect with. We really want to set them up for success and not hinder them in any way. And so definitely the developing brain needs stable blood sugar and healthy fats and healthy proteins. Awesome. And I think that comes back to the relationship with food.
Relationship with food.
How do I view veggies?
Yeah.
Veggies are good.
How do we help our children cultivate a healthy, positive relationship with food? And it's so important that we start there, because as we go on, the program only gets more and more ingrained. So whatever we're starting the foundation as, that's only going to get stronger.
Yeah.
So, and I think, Dr. Duncan.
Yeah. We have to wrap it up already.
We have to wrap it up.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't familiar with the Waldorf education, I recommend just checking it out. Rudolf Steiner was an anthroposophist. He has a lot of insight into life, and it's really interesting to look at child development through an anthroposophical viewpoint. And really, life can be helped a lot by establishing healthy rhythms and boundaries with children. They really need us for that. They really need to have that strong sense of belonging. They really need the boundaries to know where they can come back to and where they can go.
Yeah.
And so that's what I found most helpful with my children, is this rhythm. So every day we have a natural rhythm. We have a morning routine, and Sandra's is wonderful at this. They have a rhythm through school. They have a rhythm when they come home from school. So they always know where they're at, right? They're not like looking around or searching for things, and I mean emotionally and mentally, and like everything is just pretty much solid for them. So I think that's, besides food, nutrition, healthy gut, healthy soil, rhythm, and boundaries is really important for our children. So, man, that went fast.
That went fast.
Wednesday Night Live, 30 minutes seems like a long time, but you get talking about something, it just disappears.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Thank you, everybody. Join us next Wednesday, 5:30, same place, same time. It's kind of like Batman. Same place, same time. 5:30 next Wednesday for Wednesday Night Live.
Wednesday Night Live. Maybe we'll put some hats on or something. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Good night.